Hey guys! So I wanted to get to read to you one last section of Hate That Cat before we go on vacation. As you know, today is pajama day, hence my pajama looking hair. Wow, it's looking really crazy. And so, oh well, this is what we get from at-home learning, right? So here we go. I think this time, probably not going to have a follow-up questions to do. I'll just let you read and enjoy, and then we'll continue after vacation. October 16th. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow poem again? Did you forget that we read it last year? Okay, here's one. So much depends upon a creeping cat crouched in a tree beside the yellow bus stop. I bet you're going to ask me, why does so much depend upon a creeping cat, right? So do you notice how Jack is really incorporating a lot of alliteration into his own poems now, like creeping cat crouching? Remember, the wheelbarrow guy didn't say why so much depended upon the red wheelbarrow and those white chickens. True. They just leave us to make our own conclusion. So why do you think so much depends upon a creeping cat crouched in the tree beside the yellow bus stop? Should think about that for a second. October 17th. Onomatopoeia made my ears frizzle today. All that buzz, 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 and pop, pop, and drip, and tinkle, and trickle. The sounds are still buzzing and popping in my head. And the bells, bells, bells in the poem you read by Mr. Poe, is he alive? And all those bells, 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 all those tinkling and jingling. And swinging and ringing and rhyming and chiming and clanging and clashing and tolling and rolling. All those bells, 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 and that tintinnabulation. What a word! Tintinnabulation! I only understood about half the words in that poem, but like you said, sometimes that is okay because we felt all those bells and we heard all those bells crazily ringing in their tintinnabulation. I bet my Uncle Bill wouldn't like Mr. Poe's bell poem. My Uncle Bill would probably say that Mr. Poe repeats himself too much and needs to find a synonym for bells. But I don't care. I love all those bells, bells, bells. I thought of some more onomatopoeia words. Gurgle, burble, wiggle. Are those right? And what about purr, purr, purr? And did your cat really have kittens? I don't really like creepy cats. You should get a delightful dog. He even manages to sneak in a little alliteration when he's talking about her cat and his dog. All right, so here are some of Miss Stretchberry's poems that she used. So, they actually restart, and I didn't do this the other day, I don't think, with the poem Love That Boy by Walter Dean Myers. We heard that back at the beginning. Love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. I said, I love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. Love to call him in the morning. Love to call him, hey there, son. And that was just the first stanza again by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Then yesterday we heard Love That Dog, inspired by Walter Dean Myers by Jack. Love that dog like a bird loves to fly. I said, I love that dog like a bird loves to fly. Love to call him in the morning. Love to call him, hey there, sky. And now we're going to also read My Yellow Dog by Jack, which we've heard before, but just as a refresher. My Yellow Dog by Jack. My yellow dog followed me everywhere. Every which way I turned, he was there, wagging his tail and slobber coming out of his mouth when he was smiling at me all the time, as if he was saying, Thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing me. And jumping up on me, his shaggy, straggly paws on my chest, like he was trying to hug the insides right out of me. And when us kids were playing outside, kicking the ball, he'd chase after it and push it with his nose, push, 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 and getting slobber all over the ball. But no one cared because he was such a funny dog, that dog Sky, that straggly, furry, smiling dog Sky. And I'd call him every morning, every evening, "Hey there, Sky." Oops, what the heck, I can't get it right. There we go. Now, today, talking again about the Red Wheelbarrow. You might remember, by William Carlos Williams. 4 stanzas, but just 8 lines and 16 words. He really gets right to the point in this one. And if you haven't written your own So Much Depends Upon poem yet, I want you to really consider starting to do that. The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. And again, why? What depends on that? Why do you think so much depends on that red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens? What could depend on that? What makes that so important? Now we come to the poem that Jack was raving about, called The Bells, and it's by Edgar Allan Poe. Now, he's an older poet. This is actually only the first and second stanzas of this poem, and it's a long one. The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe. Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells. How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight, keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the tintinnabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 from the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells. What a world of happiness their harmony foretells. Through the balmy air of night, how they ring out their delight from the molten golden notes, and all in tune, what a liquid ditty floats to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats on the moon. Oh, from out the sounding cells, what a gush of euphony voluminously wells! How it swells, how it dwells on the future, how it tells of the rapture that impels to the swinging and the ringing of the bells, 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 of the bells, 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 to the rhyming and the chiming of the bells. Whoa. So, lots and lots and lots of onomatopoeia, lots of repetition, like Jack said, lots of rhyming there, not only rhyming at the end of the lines, but sometimes rhyming in the middle of some of the lines. And sometimes we saw some onomatopoeia, some alliteration. And we could definitely hear the rhythm in that poem that we've talked about. Through the balmy air of night, how they ring out their delight from the molten golden notes, and all in tune, what a liquid ditty floats. So it's like you have this pattern and this rhythm sometimes in these poems. So that one does sound good to your ears, right? Even if you don't know really what it means. See. October 18th. Something I am wondering. If you cannot hear what happens when you read purr, 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 or gurgle, or chocolate chalk, can you somehow feel the purr, 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 the gurgle, the chocolate chalk? Do you feel the sounds instead of hear them? So this is going back to, again, Jack has a lot of questions about not being able to hear. October 19th. The yips. inspired by Mr. Edgar Allan Poe by Jack. Hear the dogs with their yips, squeaky yips. What a funny squeaking sound coming from their lips. How they ripple, ripple, ripple in the shadow of a pickle, in the yip yipabulation through the air, from the yip 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 yip, from the squeaking and the rippling of the yips. P.S. I'm not quite sure how that pickle got in there. So sometimes when you're trying to rhyme, you just have to make up a weird rhyme like ripple pickle. And sometimes we see poets doing that, but I like how Jack was really making his own version of the bells with the yips. October 22nd. If you could not hear, you wouldn't hear all those funny yip yip yips, but you could see the dog bouncing his head up and down, his mouth flapping, and maybe you would get the idea that he was making the same sound over and over. Maybe. But how would you even know what sound is? This is making me think about if someone is deaf and they're using sign language or they're not able to hear. Maybe you, like me, have seen a lot more sign language lately because if you watch the updates from the doctors or from the governor on TV or from the president, they often have a sign language interpreter next to them. So we've been enjoying seeing people do all this sign language, relaying the message about all the important stuff on the news lately because they're so energetic and they really use a lot of body language and facial expressions to go along with their message in sign language, which is really cool. If you haven't seen that, try to watch them. October 24th. I like Maggie's buzz poem you put on the board on that orange paper. And yes, you can put my yip poem up there and you can put my name on it too. In my head are so many bells and buzzes and yips all jangling and clanking around, bumping into each other. Very noisy in my head. If you cannot hear, it must be so quiet in your head. How are your purr kittens? I could write a purr poem, except that I don't really like C-A-T-S. All right, so see how he wrote cats there at the end. For someone who doesn't like cats, he does talk about them and ask about them an awful lot. November 13th. When you read that kitten poem by Miss Valerie Worth, is she alive? I could see that black kitten dancing sideways and leaping and crouching with her eyes round as oranges. And I could see that black kitten pouncing with her cactus claws on a piece of fluff. It made me laugh, that black kitten. It reminded me of my dog Sky and how he would dance around a skittering leaf as if it were alive. And he would cock his head and wag his tail and scoot backwards and then yip and pounce on the fluttering leaf. He made me laugh, that Sky. And I hate to admit it, but those kittens you brought to class were not creepy. I'm not saying I like cats. Dogs are much better. But those kittens were fantastically funny, the way they were skittering around and purring. I guess I never saw a kitten up close before. Only big creepy cats that look like they would love to scratch you. I like how when he's writing his alliteration, he is making it bold on fantastically funny so that you can see the alliteration. All right, let's read this poem, Kitten by Valerie Worth. And what you might want to do is maybe draw a picture, if you wanted to, of some of the imagery you see when you're hearing it. Now, this is going to have to be the last one. We're very short on time here. Kitten by Valerie Worth. The black kitten, arched stiff, dances sideways from behind the chair, leaps, tears away with ears back, spins, lands crouched flat on the floor, sighting something at nose level. Her eyes round as oranges, her hind legs marking time. Then she pounces, cactus clawed upon a straight strand of fluff. Can anyone believe that she doesn't ask us to laugh? That is a cute, funny little image of a kitten. All right, that's all we got for now because it's Time for vacation. Have a great week, and we'll read more after vacation. Bye, miss you.